My name's Will Hatcher. Some people know me as Willie Dynamite. My social media profile is King Willonius. I'm a stand-up comedian, author, and filmmaker. This is my book. I always promote it. Look Like a Man, Act Like a Bitch. Actlikeabitch.com is the website. I own a startup. It's called Delicious Bathwater. We make comedic products like this book.
Hashtag Will, come on now.
Hashtag relentless man.
All right.
Of creativity, yeah.
Good night, everybody. May Randolph, hashtag producer, hashtag artist.
Hi, I'm Trisha Tate, founder of Art and Money Matters. Hashtag I am a creative entrepreneur. Hashtag Art and Money Matters.
How y'all doing? My name is Jamani Anamdi. I'm the director of Anamdi Contemporary here in Wynwood. I'm from Detroit though, and I'm trying to think of the hashtags. Hashtag art collector, hashtag contemporary art. Yeah.
Hi, my name is David Banner. Social media, Twitter, The Real Banner. Instagram, which I like a lot. It's David Banner Likes Pictures. Likes with an S. Pictures with an S. My hashtag is the God Box.
So we're going to jump right in it. The conversation is based around the arts, focused around, of course, music and other arts, visual arts also, but activism and technology. So jumping right into it, and just not really raise your hand, but you guys just be respectful of each other's time. People aren't realizing exactly how important technology is to the arts. And when you initially think of the arts itself, what do you think are some of the main inspirations that technology has changed or how it's influenced the art, maybe in the last 3 or 5 years?
Well, I'll jump right in. Basically, technology, art and technology have always been really closely connected. It's just now the technology is so obvious because you see these fancy phones and the computers and all this different technology that will help us. I'm going from the creative standpoint, not necessarily like the selling art standpoint. That's a whole nother thing. But a lot of artists today are using technology to create new kinds of works of art and use just the same way they were maybe discovering different paints and different, forms. Should it be an oval? Should it be a collage? That's what they're doing now with the art. The main thing, though, is still understanding that the art comes before the technology. Because when you continue to, if you use the technology just to create art, you're still not inventing. You got to take that technology and then say, okay, I know it wasn't designed to do this, but I'm an artist. I'm going to take it to a whole nother platform, a whole nother level. So that's really the thing about that art and technology.
Go ahead.
Well, talking from the musical side of it, technology and music has been around for a long time. When we look at softwares where you can actually take a person's voice and manipulate it. So I can pick an artist now, anybody in the room now, and make them sound like anything. So technology has been around for a very, very long time in the music standpoint of it. And it's growing and growing and growing, where now you don't have to have an actual orchestra in the room to do anything. So now I can put it in the computer, I want 2 trombones, or I want 5 violin players. And so now, you have it's a growing field right now in technology and music.
Go ahead, Will.
Yeah, I would say that I love the intersection between technology and art, just because as a creator and somebody that creates his own content, it allows me to create content for like a fraction of the price that I would pay, maybe like 10 years ago or 20 years ago. I would need like a big studio or a lot of backing. I could do it for either a fraction of the price or free, and then I can own my own content. I can put it out as I please to put it out, I just think it's really awesome, like the time that we're living in right now. Especially like you just think about your mobile phone, it's a recording device, it's a filmmaking device, you can do everything just all like, there's no excuses nowadays like to not do something, because like if you have a smartphone, like you have the world at your fingertips. Like you can not only create content, but you can get it to anybody in the world. So yeah, I love technology. It's amazing.
As a dancer, I see it affecting the industry in 3 different ways, or as a performing artist, even in New York, in 3 different ways. One is, as a dancer, now they didn't have tapes and DVDs and CDs and Dropbox and all these ways for dancers. Like, if you need to pick up a piece in 5 minutes, you can look at old choreography and pick it up while the choreographer is working on another part of the piece. Or if another artist drops out or gets hurt or injured, you can quickly pick up the piece and jump on the road and be part of the musical or what have you. So technology is advancing in that way. In the larger organizations like the Met and the Opera and the ABT, a lot of people used to be very expensive to go to those kind of things. Now they're able to bring operas and big budget, very expensive, used to be high profile kind of art to mainstream. And so now you can see an opera for $25 at the movie theater or something like that. So that's another way that it's impacted. And then the third way, a lot of dancers are involving other forms of media into dance. So it's multifaceted media. And I think one dance company that does it well is Pilopolis. If anyone has ever seen Pilopolis, they're on the Oscars or whatever, and they use dancers and movement to create shapes like the Statue of Liberty or whatever, but behind screens. And it looks amazing. You know, Beyonce uses some of that kind of imagery just to do her one-woman show, but with so many other graphics behind her. So it's being technology has been used in many different ways.
I think, I guess from a business perspective, I think everybody touched on some of the important aspects of it, but the thing that I like about it is it allows you to be directly in contact with your fans at all times. It gives you the opportunity to be the whole mechanism of moving yourself forward. I think that's very important. But what I do want to say is that, and this is a sweeping statement about technology in general, I believe that technology was originally created to assist man, not to think for man. And I think that's part of the problem. Not that he asked me about the problem, but you hinted on it, and I wanted to talk about that. People often ask me, like, what's your secret, David Banner, when you make music? I tell them none of your damn business. It's soul music. And this is like black tech, right? So I just want all of my brothers and sisters of other nationalities, but be very candid. A lot of people don't have the soul that you have. And we gave our soul to technology. Now they don't need you anymore. You know, yes, you can manipulate someone's voice to sound like anybody they want to, so now they don't need you, Aretha Franklin. They don't need you, Mary J. Blige. They don't need you, David Banner. I said in a verse, and I actually have respect for this dude, but I said, what you rapping for if you don't look like Macklemore? They don't need you, they don't need me. I don't see you on MTV. Michael Jackson turned back black. They killed that man and they dropped his CD. So in me saying that, one of my friends asked me, do I use the swipe on my phone? And I told him no. I said, I barely use the what do they call it when they, no, when they correct your spelling for you?
Autocorrect.
Yeah, autocorrect. I don't use that now because we can barely think anymore. You know, it's funny they were talking about how much technology we have, but America's getting stupid. It is supposed to assist you. It is supposed to enhance the person. But the thing that I do like is they can't stop you. Like I even gave somebody an example about Twitter. The one thing I like about Twitter is if the news attacks me, I can go straight to my fans, directly to them. You know, they have different programs now, like he said, that we can, especially for a poor black man, because honestly, that's what sampling did for us. We couldn't afford to get a band. And crack cocaine actually cut off the ability for our parents to teach us how to use the guitar, how to blow the trumpet, because our father was high. And you know how that got there.
So I think it's just an amazing balance that we need to find, you know, and we should always be the ghost in the machine. That little glitch that makes the machine have some type of soul. And I do like the police, for those who know the ghost in the machine.
Let me just say something about the beginning of this thing, because he was talking about how David was talking about how now we can distribute our own ideas and get them out there to the public through technology. I've been in art business myself personally 18 years. Okay, I have my own gallery for 18 years now. My father started 40 years ago, so I saw how the distribution system works with the arts. The only reason we have our own gallery selling like high-end artists and all the museum artists is because they didn't think black people were going to buy art anyway. So no one was checking for it to stop it. Okay, the only reason the Ebony magazine was on the shelf with John Johnson is because no one thought they weren't reading anyway. So no one put a distribution system to stop it. There's a distribution system out here that's really real. Okay, and if you don't say the right things, you don't do the right things, you don't look the right way, whatever that distributor wants, you won't get out there. So technology really has changed the whole game to allow you to say, I'm on the internet now. I just have to get people to read my things, look at my things, hear what I'm putting out there. But that is like one of the most major things about the internet and what it has done for the African American and all people is that it allows you to break that distribution system, actually get your words out there unfiltered without being edited.
So I think that leads us right into one of the key things I heard was changing the approach. Because now when you look at those responses and you talk about being the soul to the music, you speak of the business behind it. You know, we know that the money matters when you're speaking of it. What can we say now? You have all this technology, but where's the intelligence behind it to make sure you're using it to your advantage? I know one of the key factors is, David, your last album came out for free. But I know you also do more scoring of music with Hollywood. So.
Well, technically it didn't come out free. I heard you say that outside, and I didn't want to correct you.
Go ahead.
Actually, I set up a system called 2M1. That's 2 million people, one purpose. And that purpose is us controlling our images. Can I just be honest real quick? I'm going to tell you one of the reasons why I came here. I came here
Y'all know this is his panel. I'm just here to moderate. This is what it says. Go.
I came here to tell y'all something, and this is the sweeping reason why I'm here. One thing that I'm afraid of, and I noticed this in the distribution of music, as soon as we started getting our mom and pop stores, and black people started getting some type of control over the ownership of their music, we started learning. I even set up a small distribution company out of my van. People would call me, and as small as it was, I was able to distribute my own music. As soon as, like you said, that technology started helping us and we could make our music, similar with sampling. As soon as black music got popular through sampling, then you couldn't sample no more. But as soon as we were that close to really controlling a certain aspect of our lives, everybody went to the internet. And the one thing that I noticed about the internet that really made me afraid to a certain degree is that they have convinced all of us to put all of our information in a box that we don't control. And what made it very real to me is when I bought my music on iTunes and they decided that if you don't get a certain operating system, then you don't even own your own music and your own movies. So you're really being controlled. And all of you all who are techies, once you're in the box, none of that information is safe. But Arian Foster, the running back for the Houston Texans, said something. And this was the main reason why I wanted to come here. He said, black people, and instead of trying to compete in technology, why don't you just create your own? Why can't there be 2 internets? Like a whole nother system that's separate from the worldwide net. Like, why can't you just create your own instead of trying to compete with something that was never designed for you to be a front runner in the first place? One of the things that scares me the most, that black people don't own anything that sustains life. Do you own a hospital? Do you own your own food? We trust people who gave smallpox to the Native Americans and act like AIDS was not created. So when we speak about technology, why can't we, it seems to me when we create tech, we create things to uphold their system instead of creating tech that will free your people. I'll give you an example with my personal business online. Why does there have to be a middleman? Why does there have to be a PayPal between me and my consumer? Why can't my money go straight to the bank? If you want to create something that will free your people. Instead of trying to be another slave master, use technology to free and assist your people. That was the message that I came in. I said, well, I was going to sit here and I was going to hold myself together. I was going to hold my composure. But then I was like, well, damn it, if I say it early, maybe we can have some real talk.
So we gonna go here right with that. That's what's up. And Trisha, I'm not sure if you were gonna go here, but being the only woman on the panel and being a black woman that worked on Wall Street, we already know about a controlling system. So I definitely wanted to get some input from you. How do you feel about what David just said? Forget what I just said. I just want to hear your response to that.
You know, I came here based on the opportunity to find, partner, work with some group of people who have a platform, an app, some form of technology for getting out the sort of content that I work on. I am a content provider. I provide a service, and I do my financial thing. So the content I provide is I designed a curriculum around financial literacy and financial empowerment for creative entrepreneurs. And I say creative entrepreneurs because I read an interesting article, and I've been talking about creative entrepreneurship before I read this article, but the article says, speaks to the death of the artist and the rise of the creative entrepreneur. Everything in our world right now is being run by creative people, from the tech designers to the chef to the dancer, musician, what have you. Creative economies and industries are in a growth spurt, right? And so I find that more artists, performing artists, I could put myself in that realm, they have been working as freelancers or independent contractors. If you get a 1099, you are a business, okay? Like, you don't have to LLC it, S Corp it, or whatever. And a lot of people don't operate like a business. They just stay in the world, I'm an artist. Absolutely you could create, because I am a creative person. I had to deal with an audition just on the way here. But there is a business side to it, and people forget about the managing of their money and their personal and their business financials. So because I'm in that world, I was on Wall Street for many years, and with the recession, I went, and they weren't really hiring finance people with an MBA at that time. So I went back into what I love and what's in my heart and soul, which is dance and performing arts and musical theater, right? So I do that in this, but I still have that finance mind. And what always surprised me was the fact that artists are like doing like 3, 4, 5 different jobs and still can't pay their bills. And why is that? And that's because they're not managing their money right. So with that said, I created a 4-part curriculum, and I teach financial literacy workshop, financial empowerment workshops. And because of that, a lot of friends has asked me advice, asked me about like, oh, I have to do this 1099. How do you do that? How does that work? I'm not a tax advisor, but I'll tell you some strategies I use, not to get around the IRS, but strategies I use given my situation as an artist and as a freelancer. So I give advice. And then because I have the financial background, I do accounting and bookkeeping for more established creative entrepreneurs, right? So that's the 3 prongs. I provide content, I provide a service, and I provide advice. And there is a way for all of that information. You're talking about controlling content and how do you develop that content. That content came from me incorporated. That content came from years of education, experience, what I'm passionate about, listening to people. And for a lot of us out here, how you create your content, whatever you're passionate about, whatever business you're in, learn it, continue. My dance teachers always tell me you can never stop learning. Always read up on the latest thing that's happening in your industry and be the content provider for your industry. Like, be the go-to person for anything having to do with your job in your industry, so that when you leave, you could become your own freelancer and independent contractor and gain money for that. But that's how you, to answer that question, that's how you build the content. About controlling it, I am looking for partnerships with people of color in Black Tech Week, ideally, hopefully, where I can push that content out to a lot of the creative entrepreneurs, and a lot of us are creative entrepreneurs. A lot of us don't want to work for a company and a firm, but we are inherently creative entrepreneurs. So I want to get that financial empowerment, financial literacy piece out there, because it's not just about marketing yourself and having a business card and having a website. But once you get the money, you can make the money. Once you get the money, what do you do with it? How do you make it grow? Because that's what other people have on us. How do you make it grow? How do you share it to a foundation of kids, like, that do code feed, that are learning to code? Like, how do you make it grow?
And I think one of the key things, and J Money, I want you to speak on that. We've talked about it, and right now I see, in my eyes, I see 5 curriculums sitting in front of us. I think one of the key things we do is, and everybody here went to a university, everybody here went to a college, or if you didn't, you know somebody that did. You have to take that, turn it into a curriculum, and you take it to Florida Memorial University, and you turn that into a class, and you let them know how that curriculum should be built. I think instead of investing into a building, don't put your name on a building. Put your name on a curriculum and say that that curriculum was built by you. So when that kid graduates, you know they took the classes that will put them at a boundary to say, Trisha would approve of this. This is you are at that level, Yep. And that's what you have to do.
And I have the business cards if you want me to come to your university and build that curriculum in class.
One thing I want to touch upon that they both were speaking about was basically, all right, when my father started the gallery in '81, he was a psychologist, and he saw a developmental psychologist, and he would sit in people's homes and observe them, and he saw that African Americans really didn't have a cultural base. Like, we didn't have a foundation in our culture. We're proud to be black, this, that, and the other, but we didn't really know what was our wealth. I mean, you go to Europe, you can just go to the Louvre, go to the, few museums, you come back, say, hey, I was in Europe. Go to Asia, you go to some of the rooms, I was in Asia. We didn't really have that as a culture, the arts. So we never really understand our value because we didn't even know really what represented us. So when he started the gallery, the whole concept was that people learn to collect and own their culture. Don't go to the museum and say, why don't you have black people on the wall? No, put them in your home, own it. Now those museums are calling those people to borrow those works because they own and they preserve their culture. Because if somebody else is controlling your culture, they're gonna have the chains and they're gonna have the crowns. And they're going to decide which one's going to be seen in the museum. So when you bring your kids in there and all you see is chains, the kids are going to come in and say, hey, I must only be enslaved. I didn't know I was a king because those crowns are in the basement. So we got to own our culture, and this translates to visual arts, paintings, translates to music. That's why they can make technology now that takes our voice, because we didn't really own we didn't own the beginning of the voice. As soon as we got out there and said something, we said, well, I can do this all day. I can rap, I can make 1,000 raps. Sure, take all these, who cares? So now when things are changing, you realize, wow, I don't really own me because I never knew I had to own me. I'm like the Native American with land. I didn't know I had to say, look, this is my grass. They just said, hey man, it's cool, chill out. They said, no, you gotta own it. You gotta take what's yours and own it. And now that's translating into technology now, with young kids maybe inventing games or inventing these different things. They have to know that all these little natural skills we just have because we're just really good at things need to be preserved and controlled and owned by ourselves. And then from there, you don't have to necessarily make a new internet. We own the internet, we're controlling anyway, because all these different things that this world, we are the major impacts. If you go anywhere in this world, there's not one place you want to be in this world that's not influenced by African American culture.
That's right.
If it's not influenced by African American culture, you will get back on the plane and go home because it's totally boring.
Okay, hold on. So, Right, and
just-
then Will, I want you right after him.
definitely.
So
Real quickly, when he talked about control, I have to go to just educating the new generation of kids. And when you talk about building curriculum, I do have a curriculum that we're trying to put out now, which is we're launching a music and tech school, music and tech program for kids, an accelerated course. But what I find out is that, people that come up in, urban neighborhoods, a lot of times we don't see other jobs other than the artist or the music producer. So we don't see, the execs that are making really all the money behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? There's other jobs out there outside of an artist that are really taking home checks, big checks on the artist.
yeah, it's just like they say with technology, for every coder, there's 5 other jobs.
Exactly.
So if you don't know how to code, but you may know how to write, somebody got to write the content for the program that you're looking at.
Exactly.
So I understand that.
So we're going to be teaching kids how to, some coding, some programming, some different things like that to expose them to, some other jobs. Somebody has to make the next keyboard that we play. Absolutely. Somebody has to build the next app that we use as far as, you saw, I think it was a music awards where a guy was playing guitar on his app. So we want to build those things, like you said, and have some control.
Go ahead, Will.
I've been thinking about what Mr. Banner has been saying. First of all, what you talking about with us feeding the machine, is that like a Matrix type situation?
Say that one more time, please.
Us feeding the machine, is that, because when you said that, like I visualized the Matrix, like
You said feeding the machine?
yeah, what do you mean? Just like they're taking our voice and they're taking like
that's exactly what I mean. We definitely are feeding the machine. When I think one of the problems is, if you don't mind me interjecting one time. First of all, I just want to disagree with you for 1 second. No, we definitely want to own it. We always say, that's you just said it, that's what happened to the Native Americans. That's what happened to the Africans. We always believe that God owns everything. It's not ours. Like, yeah, everybody, you can come, you can have it. And that mentality is true, but not when we dealing with an oppressive nature. We have to make sure that we let our people know that ownership is the most important thing. Because the truth is, if you don't own it, people are only going to let you get as far as you can. Because I used to be mad about with me being an actor. I was like, well, why am I not getting in these movies? And I realized something. White people supposed to do for their kids first. White people are supposed to do for their own first.
Was this a disagree or a agree?
No, it's a no. I'm gonna tell you why. Let me tell you why. Because at the end of your listen. Let me tell you.
brother, I'm with you.
No. Let me tell you. Because at the end of your statement, you said, well, if we do this, then we won't have to own it. Oh yes, we will.
No.
Oh.
No, he said it was the internet.
We won't have to make a new internet per se.
But we will.
Okay. It'll be organic then. It just will happen.
Yeah.
It'll just roll into
I wouldn't
it.
upset you too big, brother.
Oh, no,
I don't want to roll with you.
Derek, go ahead and get the laptop out.
No,
Let's start Black Web 2.0. Let's get this going before they get into a battle. Let's make that happen.
And the only reason why I wanted to say that, then we'll get back to it. The only reason why I wanted to say that, because words are so powerful. And when you say
That sounds like a little limitation, but it's
yeah,
not.
it was limited, because I would much rather us start, because I think one of the things that black people are afraid of is, in order for us to truly be successful, we are going to have to take a step back from society. We are going to have to start over, and people are scared of that suffering period that everybody has to go through. Similar to all races of people who usually come to America, it's 13 in the house. And then one gets out. They all start from the bottom.
And in the tech world, we call that bootstrapping.
Yeah.
We got a bootstrap.
Thank you.
Yeah, got you.
But to answer your question, yes.
Okay. Yeah. No. Well, I was just saying, because like the question that you asked, why is it that we don't start our own internet? That was the first time I've heard that question asked.
But let me get it. Arian Foster, the running back from
Yeah.
Houston, he said that.
No, that's a bad man. And I know, because I mean, we need questions like that, I feel, just to like spark our curiosity and whatnot. And I've been thinking about, since you asked that question, like I've been thinking about it, and I just feel that a big problem with black people is that we don't value our blackness. Like we don't value being black. We undervalue it. You know what I'm saying? Like, perfect example, like, I'm in entertainment, like a lot of my comedian friends that maybe not have manager, whatnot, they say, I want a Jewish manager, because I know that's going to take my career to the next level, But when we have people that are like leaders, like for instance, Drake's album just dropped last week, and he sent 500,000 people to iTunes. You know, if we had our own thing, you would send 500,000 people to that. But you know, I just feel like if it was something black, people would devalue it. Just like this great event we having right now. If we said it was in the Poker Bean Projects, a lot of y'all might not have showed up. Y'all be like, you know what, man, this. No, I'm not trying to generalize and saying the whole crowd. I'm just saying that there would have been like people that was like, you know what, it's in the Poker Beans, it's crime and whatnot. Sponsors might not have sponsored. Like, it's almost like, you know, we're so tied to these corporations. Like Scandal's a big show, you know what I'm saying? But it's tied with it. Like it's hard for us to. I don't know, because the question just got presented, man. So I'm still trying to like articulate it.
But bring it home. You are actually right. By
So I'm trying to. It's just a thought that came, but I just know that we have to get to the point where we look at things that are black and value it the same way a Chinese man would love his Chinese stuff, like he loves Chinese food, and a Jewish man loves his Kabbalah, and an Indian loves curry or whatever they eat.
That's what I was saying. I knew you had it.
Yeah. So
I was over here like, yeah.
That's you know, we just have to, you know, we have to see, you know, we just have to love black, man. You know what I'm saying? I think that's the biggest thing that maybe I'm trying to harp home is like we really, you know, just look at everything that's black and not just say like, you know, because we all started from the bottom and are going somewhere. So like those communities and whatnot, like we have to try to build them up versus like getting to a certain point and like, you know, oh, I'm not, you know, I got a suit now or I got a good paying job now and I can't go back to, because no matter what, we're tied to that. You know what I'm saying? We can't get away from that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think, but because that's your sister that came up with Black Tech Week.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about this, and I want to make sure every time I'm on a panel I say this. She went and was able to buy blacktechweek.com, and it wasn't taken. That's number one. If you know the tech world, to get a .com of something that is supposed to be popular, you shouldn't be able to have accessibility to it. She got it, first try. We ain't have to buy it from nobody. That's number one. Number two, sometimes you have to infiltrate their system to show the value of what you are. So that's why we're here. Miami Beach may not know about Black Tech Week, but they do now. So that would be the second part. But ownership, and Ms. Cruz, we saw this happen. We had somebody say to us, and this is gonna go right into our activism part. It's Black Tech Week. Can only black people come? And we just stopped, and I looked at them. I said, well, when they did Hispanic size, did you call them and ask them the same thing? They fear us more than they want to, and we're more powerful than they ever thought we could be. So with the use of our activism, and we can just start it right back down here, what do we need to be doing with the power of our arts and technology to continue to activate and move people forward?
So the burning question is, David Banner, you were speaking on, words are so powerful, and we as Black people need to create technology that that free us and that assist us. As you being an influencer in the music industry, yourself as well, and you in the art, what have you guys thought about ways to incorporate STEM concepts within the music? I mean, music, again, you said it's so powerful, and for individuals that understand just the basic lingo of common sense technology, like coding, object-oriented programming. I have a computer science degree, so this is where the knowledge is coming from. Object-oriented programs, we are objects.
What's the real point?
The point is, what are you guys doing to incorporate STEM concepts within the music? Our culture relies so heavily upon music. How do we use music to change that stigma about technology isn't all about the nerds or whatever the case may be?
Okay, so I'm gonna bring that around in a different way. I'm thinking what she's saying. Let's see if this works, right? How do we make STEM cool? And how do we make STEM powerful in our community is what she really want to know. Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. How do we get the young little black boy to say, you know what? I wanted to be David Banner in music. Now I want to be David Banner in technology. How do we get them to follow? Go ahead.
I'm just going to give a quick shout out to a friend of mine, Arain Bennett, who created a company called Cool Nerd with a K. Cool Nerd. He's all into STEM programming, and he's about people who follow the different precepts or acronyms of parts of the acronym of STEM, portraying themselves as cool people. It's cool to be a nerd in the arts. It's cool to be a nerd in engineering. It's cool to be a nerd in theater, music, or what have you. Look him up, support him, but it's a movement around being a cool person in all of these facets. So I'm just going to give him a quick shout out.
Go ahead, Mr. Man.
There's a sweeping statement that I want to give before I answer your question. I'm just really tired of everybody wanting rappers to do everything. Like I'm trying to save black people, coding, dogs are dying in Lithuania. I was like, it's like most of these kids come from the hood who rap. Most of these kids come off of the block, and they want to debate against rappers. I look on all of these different shows, and I don't want rappers to debate for me. I just happen to be a little bit different because I'm a semester and a thesis away from my master's degree. So it's like, I don't think rappers should be our leaders. Most of them can hold a damn sentence. I don't want them to talk about, hold on, let me finish.
You can't. Now you're going to get it. You asked, now you're going to get it.
If most don't have the capacity to hold a sentence, they damn sure don't know about no coding. It's like, the thing that has to happen in the black community is, and I'm going to give this example. Do you know why the West Coast is so hot, or was so hot? It's because the film industry moved along with the music. It's like if Snoop and Dre would have came out and you wouldn't have been able to see 6'4s on Boys in the Hoods or In Colors, because most of us thought that the killing that they were doing in LA, oh man, that ain't real, that's fairy tale. But when you saw it, and then you had the soundtrack to it, and then all of these other things were going on at the same time, the Lakers were hot. It's like, in order for this to be successful, it has to be a movement that's moving along together. Because the honest truth, if you don't have success, the thing that happens to the black community, and I just learned this a couple days ago, we are dealing with the sons and daughters of slaves who have historically always been let down. If I haven't seen anybody on television that is successful in the tech world, if tech world people don't come in my hood and build stuff, let me tell you something about these children. These children will do anything that they see success. And I'm gonna give you an example with it. Back in Mississippi, didn't nobody give a damn about an Apple computer. As soon as burning CDs, people were making all that money bootlegging CDs. I walked into my homeboy, he was an ex-dope dealer. That boy had 10 towers. He had the top, he had the Macs that most people have now. He had those like 4 years ago. And the thing is that in rap, you only get to hear it. But if there's nothing for these kids to connect to, it don't matter how much we rap about it. Like, yes, rappers should help, but should only be a small aspect of a bigger picture. And just let me finish this point. That was the reason why I talked about 2M1, and then I moved. 2M1 was 2 million people, one purpose. I gave away my CD for free only because I didn't want to clear the samples. But I told people you can donate $1. $1. And the problem in the black community, I think, is we don't see value in self. That's the reason why music isn't selling. It's not the internet. Country music is on the internet. It's doing pretty good right now because people see value. Louis C.K., that's why I learned about 2M1. That's why I came up with that concept. He asked his fans, listen, y'all, I know you can get the torrents. I know that you can get it for free, but listen, in order for me to continue giving you this great content, just give me $5. The dude made $1 million in a month, I think 2 million as a whole. But I can say that every day. If people, listen, y'all, I had Lil Wayne, Chris Brown 2 times, 2 Chainz. I had everybody but Kendrick Lamar and Nicki Minaj and Rick Ross on my CD. And I only asked for $1. Guess what most people said? What you gonna do with that $1? What? So that's why I wanted to make sure that people knew, oh no, nothing's for free.
Right.
But it comes in the value. And I think before rappers can start talking about technology, we as a whole have to start living it, producing it, and stepping to the forefront so the rappers can support you. Rap, what rap used to be is not this anymore, but rap used to only be the residual effect to what was actually happening in the streets.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you.
Hold on.
I'll answer that. No, she asked it. She said it out loud, so I got to answer it.
Go ahead.
Sweetheart, I'm pioneering and trying to save my people from dying right now. I can't talk to them about technology if they die. I can speak about it, but I said this. It's hard for me to tell kids to dream when they don't have no bed to sleep in. So I will assist after you show me. Because I always tell people, everybody's always pointing the finger about what you do, what you should do. No, tell me what you doing, so then, if it's hot enough, maybe I'll support you. It's no different than every rapper saying that they hot. Everybody's telling you what to do with yours. Show me what you're doing with yours, and then maybe I can assist you if you have the blueprint and it makes sense, in my estimation.
Hold on one second.
I'm from Jamaica. And I've been sitting and listening to the panel for a little while. And part of what I'm hearing is slightly frustrating and also partly familiar. And it seems to come back to a mindset issue. Same thing happening in Jamaica and the Caribbean in terms of a mindset. It's more of a hustler versus actually building real, sustainable, convertible black wealth. But I think if we get too caught up in the narrative of what's wrong and how we've been wronged, we stay there. Instead of actually looking at the success stories, whether it comes in the form of black, pink, Indian, or Chinese, and see how they do it, and then see exactly how we can actually either do it or do it better. I'm kind of tired of the same rhetoric that I hear it in Jamaica and I hear it in the Caribbean. And I was like, listen, just shut up and actually start something. Just actually start doing something. It frustrates me when I hear black people, Caribbean people, caught up in the same thing over and over again. Just shit or get off the pot. And so I'm asking you, why is it you talk about, okay, creating the platforms that we own. Fine, we have iTunes, which is owned by Apple. How about us actually studying what is it that they saw? How do they connect the dots? Same thing with the blogging medium. How are they using, how did they come up with the blogging medium that we're now using to put out our content? And see how we can actually connect the dots that either feed our needs or feed other needs and own those platforms. I'm kind of tired of year after year hearing the same shit.
Can I touch on that? Just one. Yeah, because, I'm the same way. I'm Jamaican too. But yes.
Come on, we got a lot of questions.
Anyway,
Let's get through these. Let's read through.
What I want to say was I realized that I was getting frustrated with that too, because it seems like whenever there's a mass gathering of black people, like we always try to find like what's the problem, and it's very rarely we get solutions. Like it's very rare. Like they got the State of the Black Union.
So let's say tonight one of the initial solutions is we're doing this event. So let's start there. Hold on. I just want to, cause what you guys. Go ahead, keep going with it.
Yeah, what I'm saying is like if we're going to give a problem, you have to give a solution. Like you go to the doctor and the doctor says, "Oh, you're messed up," but I don't know what it is. Like, I didn't even know I was messed up until you told me that. You told me I got a problem. I didn't think I had a problem, but so give me a solution. What's the cure? So if we get together in these forums, like I don't see other races getting together talking about their problems the same way. And like all these things, like we don't need leaders. We just need action. We need action, and it needs to take place. Like everybody has to figure out like what action can I do every day to help my family, my village, my community as a whole. But like, we gotta have solutions. Like everybody should be, so anytime somebody presents you with a problem, what is the solution? Do you have it? Well, don't tell me there's a problem.
We're gonna take one more response. I'm gonna take a question here, go ahead.
I want to tie in all of the themes that we're talking about. I feel the woman in the back, and I want to tie the question that you asked about from an activist standpoint, but not as a angry black woman standpoint. And I want to tie in creativity and what we can, and also tie in a solution. I sat on I went to a career day at a charter school, and they have a performing arts department. And there were kids there were kids that came in that were interested in arts and media. And there were different people on the panel, and I was one of 2 African Americans, but I'm also Caribbean American, and so my family's from Trinidad. That's not to hail up any particular country, but I'm Caribbean American, and I asked a question to the kids that like spoke volumes to them. I'm a first-generation American, and to be an artist was not a profession or something that you go into. Anything having to do with the arts. And that's not a dig, that's just what your parents knew. When you came to this country, you were a lawyer, you were a doctor, you were a blah, 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 right? An engineer, okay? So I went into the finance field, but God gave me gifts to be a dancer. So I had to rectify that within myself. And now that we are here, 1 generation, 2 generations, how many ever generations down the road, and we know that there are ways to make money, to build wealth, to impact the community through different art forms, whether they be tech-based or not. Now that we have that, please make it an open community and forum where kids are encouraged and empowered to go into the arts and the creative industries. Whether you're from a Caribbean background, first generation African background, whatever it is, there's so many opportunities in those places. And these kids, I spoke to them first and foremost as a Caribbean American woman. And they said, well, you know what? Well, what if you fail? Like, a lot of my friends are not into fine arts, and not many people are into my graphic arts, or not many people are. What if I fail? And I said, that is the first road to success, because you are doing something that's outside of the box. And you know what? They will be sweating you when you have your painting in an art gallery or a presentation in front of a larger artist. So I think from a creative, an activist standpoint, from providing solutions, is please support any organizations that have that offer arts and technology programming for kids, to let them know that it is okay to go into those industries and they can do very well in those industries, and you don't have to just have to be a lawyer, a doctor, or an engineer.
Hold on, okay.
Let me
hold on, guys. I know I'm trying to do me a favor. Let's try to keep it to about 30 to 60 seconds.
All right, no problem.
Go ahead.
Somebody count for me.
I got you.
Tell me you got 15 seconds left.
I got you.
I want to say, like, during Art Basel, we had a young group of artists, a young group of kids. Nike sponsored it. It was called Play to Win. We gave them all cameras, which, camera phone style pieces. And we took them around. We first taught them about the history of different photographers. And then we took them around the neighborhood and they took pictures. So kids take pictures all the time, selfies, whatever they want to take. But we try to take it to the next level to show them now you can really be a photographer with this technology. Now, and that was really successful. We had a competition, their work was framed, it was displayed during Art Basel, and they loved it. Then they saw themselves as artists, not just, cameras in your hand.
15 seconds.
Now, I want to touch upon what the lady and a few people were saying about, I'm sorry, I didn't, Ingrid, I'm sorry, thank you. Ingrid was saying about, the emotional and this, that, and the other. I think, first of all, I think everyone here is talking about what they're doing and how they're trying to help a situation, solutions. I don't really think there was anybody saying, and I'm tired of the white man holding me down. It was more so like, black man, pick yourself up and do X, Y, and Z. Now, I also really think it's important that we do get fire underneath ourselves. We get fire underneath ourselves because everybody, the majority of people here are going to leave out this door and do the same thing they did yesterday. So we need to know this is emotional. This is something that we need to deal with. So we need to, if we want to yell about it and say, hey, tech now, whatever you want to say, let's do it.
Go ahead.
Thank you, sister.
Well, yeah, you go first. You go first.
Mine is quick. I'm sorry. I do think that we have to have times like this where we harp on it and be mad about it. Because the thing is, what's funny about it is, see, we don't get mad when the Jews do it. We don't get mad when other people. I mean, and they talk about their culture and they make their kids learn it. Our kids are not learning this stuff. You know, we get together in these in this setting and we talk about it, but our kids in our inner cities are not learning, and so they don't have any passion for it. And so we have to go back and create some type of passion. And it's funny how us don't want to talk about it all the time. You know, so I'm sorry, I'm on the tip where I feel that we have to talk about it, and we have to talk about what was done and know so we don't repeat it.
Go ahead, Mr. Barry.
I wish you could throw me the microphone like it was an alley-oop, because I'm about to dunk it. Actually, me and you been talking about restraint. I got to stand up. Y'all excuse me, I'm from Mississippi. I got to stand up. I totally disagree with you, and I'm going to tell you why. First of all, I gave 5 solutions, and we never talked about that. 5 of them. We sat here and counted. We talked about it. I gave 5 solutions. The sad part about it is this. The reason why we're still harping on the same things that our grandparents did, because we never changed them. What we should be doing, and I gave the example. I will show you this. I saw Louis C.K. and what Louis C.K. did, but I couldn't do the same thing because of my people's mindset. Because I am black, they saw no value. So we can't do the same thing that iTunes does until we change that mindset. I will give you a quick example. When I was an independent artist, and I will say this in front of the camera, I knew a lot of my people were not proud to be from Mississippi. So I knew they would never buy a David Banner CD until I made them be proud to be from Mississippi. So I tattooed Mississippi on my back, and I went around and made Mississippi be the hot thing. See, if we don't, first of all, acknowledge that there are a problem, and that's what happens to black people. We got shot in the chest doing slavery, and there was never no mental therapy, no physical therapy, no social therapy. So we're walking around with this hole in our chest, and they had a 350-year head start, and we still got a hole in our chest. So we can't compete with anybody because it is not fair, because we are the darkest complected person on this earth. They will never let us be free until we get our own. And before we can get our own, we have to acknowledge this thing that we go through, and black people always try to move past it. We will never, ever go anywhere until we stand here and address those things, in my personal opinion.
Okay, so I've asked y'all your questions, so I'm trying to sum up some of it. So, one thing, Don Dickinson in the back. Don, I know Don said one of the solution is, and I'm going to get everybody to raise their hand, so this is how you visually see what the problem is versus what's going on. In the last 6 months, have you spent over $500 to $1,000 on any kind of fashion accessories or anything? If you have, raise your hand. 6 months, $500 or more. Shoes, clothing, anything. Anything besides food and water. Raise your hand. Hold on. 5 to 6 months. It has to include Christmas. Raise your hand. All right? So all y'all got your hands up. Now, keeping your hands up, in the last year, have any of you guys donated, infused, or invested $500 into a black-owned business? Hold on. Not spent. Listen to the question. Have you invested? Meaning, have you given $500 and said, I may not get nothing back in return?
Does Pookie count?
Okay. So we're at about 70%. Now hold on. Keep your hands up. How many of you are ready to give $10,000 towards the same thing or even have it available? Be real with it. But this is the point. Now look at the amount of hands we have up. So one of your first solutions to the problem is we have to find the investment to make these platforms that we have a problem with. That's why, trust me, I can wrap it all up. This is what I do. You have to build the platforms. And I understand what your concerns, how do we address, and how do we take the information from today? You don't take the information from today. You take the people from right now and you start building the solution. The information has already been there. We've had the information. It's about the difference between this panel. They've already went through that bootstrapping phase. And what's in this crowd is the next PayPal mafia. So the question is, where are the 13 people in this crowd that's willing to say, I can't buy nothing new, and no, we can't go out to eat. What we have to do is go back to your house and work till 5 o'clock in the morning. That's what it's gonna take, okay? The power of building is the power of understanding the information that's given to you, because knowledge is the most powerful thing we've ever had. We were shared. Do you guys know why black people know how to play cards so well? That's how we learned how to count. That was our thing. I remember in the country, you learn how to count. I know how to run numbers because of how to play spades. That's how my family taught me. Now, hold on. I'm gonna let you guys talk to them because we have a limited amount of time. It's not gonna do no good. But I wanna show you something of how you bring things together. You guys are amazing. And I just need one more amazing thing from you. 2, I want one word right now with the emotion you're feeling. One word to describe this experience that you just had. Just one word. All right? Go ahead. One word, not a phrase, just one word.
Do I elaborate on the word afterwards?
Nope. One word. Let's go.
How?
Power?
How? How?
How? Okay. Go ahead.
Encourage.
Encourage? Promising? Promising, okay.
Significant.
Beginning.
Beginning? So, this is a tradition of my company by the name of Digital Grass. We take the final words at a meeting. And this is how we kind of wrap things up. And I normally take the same amount of time I'm doing now, and I tell everybody, thank you for coming out. Really appreciate it. And I hope this is something that motivated you. But when you start asking yourself, how do we encourage our youth and our people to go towards a more promising lead in the career, to make significant changes in our community, to build us up for this new beginning, you think about what you just experienced tonight. You think about the last sentence I left you with, and you think about those 5 words.
That was dope.
That's how we
That was
do it.
all right.
That was dope.
That was all right. I'm like a magic trick.
So,
That's lyrics.
y'all don't know how hard it is to do that, but boy, it feels so good when you do it. So, he may not remember, but when you talk about the power of the universe and putting things out there, I want you guys to understand something. I went away to Georgia, Blue Ridge Mountain, Georgia for Christmas. And I told myself, Michael, you need to do a hard reset. Just, you gotta take a break when you're an entrepreneur. You know, you get dragged out, you get tired. And during that break, one thing that if I had to do anything, I'm actually an artist. Most people don't know that. Paint and I draw. And this gentleman right here retweeted an image. And I drew this because I was reading his feed while I was on Christmas break. And the things that stood out to me was power, respect, and history. And today showed me, no matter what y'all are going through, no matter if you decided I might just give up today, I drew this image of David Banner over 3 months ago. I don't even know if you remember it. And under the post it says, every superhero doesn't have to wear a cape. David Banner, you are our superhero. And you motivate us, J Money. Trisha, you represent every black woman that's in this crowd. You represent. Hey, Randall, you keep making the music. And Will, it ain't nothing better than comedy and intelligence wrapped into one to make people realize I'm laughing while I'm thinking at the same time. You guys keep pushing. And that's our panel for tonight.